Sloppy game at Sullivan East weather-wise, and back home to the cozy confines of John Allen Compton Field and Carl Matherly Stadium, and got ourselves a big W over our cross-county rival, the Sullivan North Golden Raiders.
Yeah, our field held up pretty good with the week's rain. It was senior night, a lot of festivities going on before the game. Just a heck of a night for our kids, their last regular season home game here. Physical football game, really physical.
Football team is struggling. Obviously, folks, as we said on our radio broadcast, they lost two of their big guns last year that transferred to other schools, namely the Jasper kid went to Tennessee High. So Coach Norris came over with a depleted crew, but they played hard. Score would indicate, it's like, gosh, we beat them 44-0. But that really doesn't indicate how hard they played. They came at us the whole ball game.
Yeah, they got a fiery crew. Coach Norris and his staff have done a good job over for a long time getting the most out of what they got. Played a lot of young kids. I think they only have 9 seniors on their football team. And so, for being young, they came over and played hard.
Of course, Sullivan South now 243 wins, 146 defeats as a school. Coach Haynie now 35-19, 12 shutouts under his belt. 2 of those coming, actually 3 of those coming this year. Let's recap the season so far. We win on the road at Cherokee in Game 1, 49-13. Lose at Tennessee High, the Stone Castle. Only lost so far this season, 35-28. And since then, we rolled off a bunch of victories. Happy Valley 49-7, Gate City 21-0, Unicoi County 54-6, and 3 straight shutouts. That would be Daniel Boone 56-0, Sullivan East 40-0, and as we said last week, Sullivan North 44-0. Coach, when you have shutouts, now we got 4 under our belt in 2014. When was the last time a Sullivan South Rebel football team? Creech said it was last year. Andy Creech, our radio guy. When was the last time we had those kind of success in a row of consecutive shutouts?
It's been a while. I think Coach Hilton did some research last year during the same stretch and found out that I think it was maybe 5 is the school record for shutouts. So I'm sure that'll be a goal moving forward this year for our defense. But those guys, Coach Hilton, the staff, and the defensive players have got a whole lot better since the season started. And it's fun when you can make a shutout your goal. But a ton of things go into a shutout more so than just defense. Field position, special teams, and even when that second offense gets in there and they can maintain possession of the football and keep the other team from getting it. So a shutout is a total team effort, and we're excited about that.
I know this last week, the first-team defense, once you pulled them late in the ballgame, they were cheering on that second-team D like, boys, don't let them score. And that's kind of cool because that builds that camaraderie that the first team is cheering on the second-team D.
That last series, like you alluded to there, was probably one of the most intense series of the game. We wanted to keep that goose egg on the board. All those older kids were over there cheering. Coach Hilton and all of us were getting it going, making the adjustment, the in-possession adjustments, and they shut them down. It was exciting.
We're talking to head coach Sam Haynie. You're watching In the Huddle, Sullivan South Rebel football, our second show. Again, we'll tell you at the end of the show how you can tell your friends, tell your neighbors to dial in, and in this case, tune in and watch and listen to the Sullivan South Coaches Show here. Coaches, pick up the highlights. It didn't take long for us to get on the scoreboard. 8:12 to go in the opening stanza. And once again, guy we talked about all week, literally last week, Christian Comsa right back and picks up where he left off and had an 11-yard strike from Wigger. Kind of set this play up.
That was a passing play. Dylan got a pretty clean pocket, and Comsa slid in there across the middle, open, good shot, good catch there in the back of the end zone for our first score.
You could tell when Wigger wound up and let that thing fly across the middle. That was like we say back home, that was a clothesline or laser. Of course, I guess I'm talking country, but clothesline, not much arch on it, straight across the middle. He ripped it, and, of course, Compson got that ball for the touchdowns. He had a little smoke on it, didn't he?
He did, and down at the goal line, sometimes you got to put a little heat on it to get it in there. He did that. Good catch by Compson there, and got us started.
His 13th catch of the season, his 22nd of his career for Christian Comsa. Of course, for Dylan Wigger, the numbers continue to pile up. His 54th career touchdown pass, number 20 for this season. Bert Hines point after 7-0 Sullivan South. Right back again comes Wigger. This time he finds Mr. Booker for the touchdown.
That same type of route, Dylan got flushed a little bit in the pocket, had to get out on the edge. Josh did a good job breaking his route off and finding an open area there in the defense. Another clothesline shot, as you alluded to, in there, and Josh come up with a catch for our second touchdown.
9-yard pass, and again for Josh Booker, number 5 of the season, number 15 of his career here at Sullivan South. And obviously Wigger adds another one, 55 career and 21 this season. South up 14-0. That's the end of the first quarter score. And we put on some more points. Once again, Booker in that Wildcat formation takes it in from right around 29 yards after the touchdown.
As a trap play, we've been working on that with our guards, getting up in the line of scrimmage. Tanner Duncan, good job pulling up in there and kicking the tackle out. Austin Beard, a touchdown leading block down, pancaking the linebacker, and then Josh Booker does what he does in open field and made a couple guys miss and a good run there. Got inside the pylon to score the touchdown.
On to Coach Sam Haynie in the huddle talking South football. Coach, for the fans out there, tell us in layman's terms of Wildcat formation. We hear that all the time with your bubble screens and hear all those fancy terms. It's still basic, as you've always told me. It's still pass, catch, block, and hit and run. So bubble screens, in this case, a Wildcat formation. What's that?
Well, you know, most people's Wildcat formation puts an athlete at quarterback. In our case, it does put an athlete there, but Josh can throw the ball also. Gets a chance to get us the ball in his hands without having to throw it to him. That's been pretty good to us so far. We still have the option to run or pass with Josh in there.
With Booker's touchdown, 21-0 South, and yet another Rebel in the scoring fray again last Friday night. Coach, this time Blake Christian, a 5-yard run for his 6th touchdown of the season.
You know, North started playing us. I guess when you've thrown as many touchdown passes as we've thrown, North started playing us without any linebackers. They were widening their linebackers to help on the pass. So Coach Jordan and the offensive staff saw the middle of the field. If we'd have got those interior defensive linemen blocked, that we would pop that thing through. Those guys did a good job in the offensive line, as we've talked about, getting better, and Blake snuck through there untouched for a touchdown.
On this particular touchdown, Colton Young kicks the point after, and so once again, 2 more weapons, Burdine and now Colton Young, either one of those guys kicking point afters.
Yeah, Colton's done a good job with our kickoffs. Has been working on his extra points. If we had to kick a long field goal, Colton's got it, and I just felt like he needed some more experience to get in there. We may need Colton here going down the stretch for a field goal at some point in time, and to get him some on-the-field experience there kicking the ball, I thought was important.
You just never know, right, on a Friday night, who's going to get hurt, who's going to be called into action, right?
That is correct, yes, sir.
We'll take a quick break, come right back, got more highlights. Again, you're watching In the Huddle with head coach Sam Haynie. You are watching, proudly we tell you, Sullivan South Rebel football.
What does Fort Henry Drive, Sullivan South, and Great American Food all have in common? The Hot Dog Hut in Colonial Heights, located at 4028 Fort Henry Drive in Kingston. The Hot Dog Hut has a wide selection of mouth-watering food and is locally owned by Jim Hackett, so you're sure to always be treated like a neighbor, not just a customer. So whether you're a die-hard Sullivan South Rebel or just a fan of great American food, stop by the Hot Dog Hut in Colonial Heights.
Wake up to a new, better breakfast. It's Golden Corral's tastier than ever ultimate weekend breakfast buffet. For one low price, it's our new buttermilk pancakes, bacon, sausage, signature omelets, and more. Juice included. It's a better breakfast, and it's only at Golden Corral.
Welcome back to In the Huddle, talking Sullivan South Rebel football. Head coach Sam Haynie. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. By the way, you can watch this. Obviously, you are on SullivanSouthRebelFootball.com. Also, you can go to TomTaylorProductions.com. Either one of those will get you this highlight show and kind of the coaches show that we do each week. And this is week number 2. And, Coach, one of those rare birds in football is a safety. All the stars got to be aligned, or in this case, a bad snap, but we get ourselves a safety. Kind of describe that play for us as the Rebels get one against Sullivan.
Well, there's a couple times that North punted early where they got some high snaps, got just a little bit higher and got over his head. A host of Rebels jumped on. I thought for a second there we might got a touchdown because he kind of stood over the ball trying to think what to do with it. He eventually got on it. And there was a host of guys that jumped on it and got 2 points, which the 2 points are really, really good. The field position you gain from the kickoff return is crucial, too, while coming off a safety.
That makes it a 30-0 football game. Then pick up with another highlight. Once again, Mr. Comsa, 2-touchdown night, a 45-yard pass from Wigger. Most of that, to his credit, he got on his own. It was a nice pass by Wigger, but set this play up as Christian got it and took it to the house.
That's a little tunnel screen play we run where Christian comes back down towards the ball. We try to get a couple linemen out in front of him to get some blocks. This particular play, those blocks got set up inside, and he saw some green grass outside, got out there and just used his speed to beat the safety to the end zone.
That puts us at halftime, 37-0. One more score in the second half. Once again, Blake Christian, a 2-touchdown night and a little 2-yard plunge. Tell us about this one.
Still the same thing, even that tight on the goal line. North was hanging some of those linebackers out of the box, trying to take away the outside runs and the pass. We've challenged our offensive line that we got to run the ball inside some. So just another opportunity for us to work on it. They got off the football. Blake used his quickness again, snuck through there, and got our last touchdown of the night.
One of the rules, again, that was the end of the third quarter, 44-0, running clock in the fourth quarter, and that was your final score. South second-team defense held up for the shutout, and we win at 44-0 over the Sullivan North Golden Raiders. Again, we lead that series now in a big-time way. Continue to dominate that series, and we'll talk more about that in just a second. But the running clock rule in the second half, some folks have said, hey, we'd like to see this in the first half because we really get on a team and really get them down that let's don't, embarrass them and punish them and wait until the second half. Let's start that running clock in the first half. Or at any point you reach 35-point differential. Like it second half, like to see it in the first half too.
I'm pretty good with staying in the second half just because I think it's fair to your kids to get out there. They need to play a good solid half. Our general rule of thumb has been that we get out and get the starters on both sides of the ball a series in the third quarter. Now, if it was way out of hand, we may revisit that deal. But right now, we like to get out, get them to break a lather there in the second half a little bit for a series or two, and then we'll roll the twos in. Because what people don't realize with getting everybody else in the football game is when the clock runs, it's legitimately about a 24-minute half, probably 30 minutes by the time we switch the ball on the ends of the field and got some stoppage in play. So things go a lot faster, and it's tough to get some of those kids in down the stretch. I like the rule. I wish I could tell you I hadn't been on the other side of it, but I have, and it's a nice rule to have when a team's come in and they're ahead of you to get out of there. It's good for both ends, I think.
Absolutely. And by the way, South leads the series now over Sullivan North 22-9 as we again pitch that shutout 44-0. Coach, let's talk about that shutout. Again, 3 straight, 4 in the season. That's quite an accomplishment for our defense. And obviously these guys are flying to the football to pitch a shutout on anybody, particularly your cross-county rival. And throw out some names, some kids that played well Friday night.
Well, the defensive line continues to play well. Tommy Morris, Cade East, Josh Bewley, Tanner Duncan, those guys have played really well. I don't think it's any secret about the linebackers. Grant Ward, Hunter Herron, Jake Strickler are playing really, really well. Against some certain motions, Coach Hilton had the corners coming off the edge. Blake Christian had a couple sacks, and I think he caused a fumble. And so those guys are getting up and getting in that run game, and the safeties have done a good job all year of keeping everything in front of them. You see those safeties, Compson, Blair inching up to get into action. They're trying to get in there like some piranhas and get in on the action. And so sometimes we got to back those guys up to make sure nothing sneaks out. But as a whole, the defense has played well. As we were talking about off air there, a lot of things go into a shutout. There was a 4th and about a yard at the second offense. We took a chance to get a first down to keep the clock running. Tony Guzman and that 2 line got off the football and got a first down and kept the clock running. And in the last possession, Dylan got off a good punt and got him down inside the 20 and was tough for a drive for him. So as well as the defense has played, there's a ton of things that go into keeping that shutout intact.
Absolutely. Kids played very, very well Friday night, 44-0 the final against Sullivan North. And obviously this is a no-brainer, but any shutout's a good shutout, particularly when you play it against a cross-county rival like Sullivan North.
It is, and our kids, and you can tell there was some emotion on the field. I like emotion. I'm not necessarily like penalties, but I want to tell you, and this may be something that people agree or disagree with. We tell kids so much that in this day and time not to show emotion. We used to fight in school, and get into it, and I'm not saying I'm not condoning that, but we keep emotion suppressed. When they get out on that field and they get the blood going, and that sometimes they do some things out in front of 3,000 or 4,000 people that you wish they hadn't have done. But you can always tone a boy down, all right? But sometimes it's difficult to get one revved up. Our guys are fired up. We talk every Monday about the good and the bad. One of the bad is we have to control our emotions sometimes, no matter what the other team does. 15 yards in the wrong situation can be big in a big football game.
Got to be cool, right?
You got to be cool. That is correct. Yes, get them between the whistle. get after them. But that flag and a 15-yard penalty can be very detrimental to an offensive drive or picking up a first down in a football game where it's close.
You are watching In the Huddle with head coach Sam Haynie. We're talking Sullivan South Rebel football. We'll take a break, come right back, and when we do, we'll find out how the Little Rebels are doing. Also, we'll get a scouting report on this Friday night's game. Heading up on the mountain, I'd say gloves, toboggans, maybe even long handles may be needed. We're going to Mountain City. Should be a cool night for football. Hey, it's October. It's supposed to be. And the Rebels, again, this week ranked 8th in the state. We'll take the traveling show, the Rebel Nation. We'll head up 421 through Shady Valley and get ready to battle the Longhorns. We'll talk about that team and more as we come right back with more In the Huddle talking South football. As you're watching, proudly we'll tell you, Sullivan South Rebel football.
From the driveways where your kids play basketball and ride their bicycles, to the parking lots at your local church or grocery store, Bracken Paving is an important part of many neighborhoods in our area. No matter how large or how small the job, Bracken strives for excellence in every service they provide. It's a foundation for a strong community. Discover the difference at Bracken Paving and Asphalt Maintenance. Give us a call or visit us online at brackenpaving.com.
Welcome back to In the Huddle, talking Sullivan South Rebel football. Head coach Sam Haynie. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. By the way, you can hear our broadcast coming up on the radio on AM 870, 100.7 FM, and around the world on TopGunRadio.com coming up Friday night. We'll head up the road, as we said before the break, to Mountain City to battle the Johnson County Longhorns. We'll talk about that with Coach Haynie here in just a second. Here are the standings right now going into this week's action. The Three Rivers Conference in week number 9 for most of the teams, although we had some week zeros, but certainly the 9th game of the season for most teams in the region. Sullivan South at 4-0 and 7-1. Again, they are currently ranked 8th in the state, up 2. We'll find out what Coach says about our rankings here in just a second. Elizabeth, an honorable mention this week in the state in 4A, 4-0 and 7-1. Johnson County at 3-1. Our opponent Friday night, they are a 4-4 football team overall. Sullivan East at 2-2 and 5-3. Sullivan North at 1-4 and 1-8. Happy Valley is 1-3, and the Warriors are 1-7 overall. And right now in the cellar, looking for that first win of the season, Unicoi County at 0-5 and 0-8 overall. This Friday night, Elizabethton goes to Unicoi County. Sullivan East and Happy Valley hook up. Sullivan North has a night off, and Coach, we head up the mountain to Johnson County. They are 4-4 and 3-1. Still 5 wins need to get you into the playoff. They still need to get that 5th win to kind of help their cause.
I think so. I think that's been the magic number. Over the last few years, getting that 5. There's been a team or two occasionally in a low quadrant that's got in at 4 and 6. But I think if you're coaching a team, you tell a team that you need to get to 5, if not 6 wins to get in.
We are 7-1. Is it safe to say with 2 games left, we have qualified for the playoffs for the 14th straight year?
Yeah, I think so. I'd hate to talk about 7-3, but there's not. I don't think there's been any case where a team's won 7 football games and not got in.
Johnson County, we play them here, we play them there. They'll scrap you, they get after you, obviously, and they're just a rugged, tough-nosed football team. The new coach has put some life into the program.
He has, and we got to make the ride up the mountain. One thing about Johnson County, if we talk scouting report here, Johnson County has attempted about twice as many passes as we have, so it's not the grind them out team that we're used to. The ball's going to be in the air a lot on Friday night. That doesn't mean they won't get in there. They got a wing tee set that they like to run the football out of. But Johnson County, quarterback Warren Curley, a good football player, got a couple of receivers that one has close to 50 catches and the other close to 40. They've done a good job.
Got them pretty good here last year at our place, beat them 41-14. This will be the 10th meeting between the two. South leads the series 8-1. But, again, they're wanting to play the spoiler. They're trying to get into the playoffs. They need this W for them. We obviously got to get some momentum to head into the game with the showdown with Elizabeth and week after next. So both teams have a lot to play for.
They do, and like you alluded to about their playoff situation at 4-4, they need to get one of the next 2. I'm sure they'll be excited about getting us up there on the mountain. I think it's their last home game. I think they go on the road for their last game. And we're in the same boat. We continue to build. We've taken it week to week. Told the guys yesterday on our Monday meeting that they only got about roughly 10 days left in their regular season. So we got to get locked in. get us go up there and put out a good effort against Johnson County, try to get us a win, and then move forward from there.
We go from the steam bath in August and September. It was so hot here when we played on Friday night. Now we're going to some cooler conditions. We're supposed to. It's late October. However, how does that affect our football team weather-wise? If it's cold up there Friday night, it's going to be cold for both teams. But how do you think it'll affect the Rebels?
Well, I think that sometimes if it's a drastic temperature drop, it may affect just a mental thing a lot of times. Hopefully we won't have that case up there. Hopefully it'll just be a little bit chilly up there. It just seems like yesterday we were down at Cherokee. We got there a little bit early because that was our first trip, and it was hot down there that day. I mean, it was up in the 90s, and so big contrasting style, like we've talked about. I think cooling off a little bit, levels the playing field on some things, and so that's another challenge. Last year, I think we laughed. When we took the field, we had on all our Under Armour stuff. We went down there and bought out Dick's Sporting Goods, and there was a couple of those old linemen from Johnson County just strapped on their shoulder pads and jersey bareback and went at it. And so we're going to take these city boys up on the mountain, try to get us a win, and those guys, they probably won't be affected at all by the weather.
What do you feel like South can do offensively to Friday night against the Johnson County Longhorns?
Well, from this point forward, we got to continue to execute well, not to shoot ourselves in the foot. A lot of times if you'll watch football spread offenses, a lot of times they stop themselves with drop balls, penalties, shoot themselves in the foot. We got to stay smooth and execute, keep doing what we do. I don't think we're not short on playmakers. Get those guys the ball, let them do their thing. Line keep continuing to improve, and because so many times, and when we watch college football all day on Saturday and high school football, a lot of times you lose football games because you don't execute well, more so than you go out and win them because how well you do execute.
We're talking to head coach Sam Haynie. We're talking Sullivan South Rebel football. Coach, some of the armchair quarterbacks in the community say, well, one of the knocks from the South football team this year is we can't sustain any drives. The only time we can score is a quick strike. We've never had to really grind it out and get a sustained drive. Is that a fair statement or not?
Well, it could be. I mean, I don't know that we have. It's like we talk about in our stats. Dylan, I think, was 10 of 12 roughly. But when we've thrown or completed 90 balls and 26 of them are for touchdowns, I don't know that you want to sustain drives. In high school football, as a defensive coach, you want teams to go on long drives because 17-year-olds are going to make mistakes. The more plays you put together, you're got a bigger chance for a turnover, bigger chance for a penalty to back you up. So if I get the ball 10 times, I got 8 one-play scoring drives, sign me up. I'll take it.
Take it all day long. Before we wrap this thing up, give me an injury report for Friday night. How banged up are we heading up to Johnson County?
Just the normal things. I don't know that we have anybody that other than Kyle Hosmer who's out with his knee, and I know I may be missing somebody else. I'm not doing that on purpose, but just your normal bangs and bruises and bumps from the season. Actually, we're in pretty good shape right now with our legs and everything, so no excuses right now from a physical standpoint.
The younger Rebels, what are we doing with the JV and 9-10 teams?
We just played North on Monday night, won that game 48-20. They played. We saw a lot of the same numbers from the varsity playing on Monday night. So our kids went over there and scrapped and fought. Exciting game. Ended up scoring a couple late to make it a 48-20 game. Johnson County will come down next Monday for our last 9-10 game, and then they'll be packing it up and calling it a year. But they've had a good season. I think they are 4-4 right now, and a win against Johnson County will put them over the 500 mark.
I promise you, Friday night we go up to Johnson County, Coach. If we don't have more, we'll have as many fans. The Rebel Nation always travels. People tell me that all the time when South comes calling on the road. We always pack a lot of folks in, and the Rebel Nation will be there Friday night loud and proud.
Well, I can tell you this. I've had as much fun coaching these guys this year. They've come a long way attitude-wise. They've come a long way physically, and watching these skill guys play football and make plays. Sometimes I think we become spoiled on wanting touchdown passes and quick strike scores and whatnot. It's tough to move the football in high school and score. We can ask some of these other guys, and we've been in that situation before here. So, you got a couple opportunities regular season-wise to get out and watch these guys throw and catch and run touchdowns. And it's just fun right now to be part of this program and watch these young guys. They're having a good time too. I mean, and we've talked about that. So as you alluded to, they always come out. and we'll see if we can't put a good product on the field Friday night.
Coach Davenport tells us what? We go on the road.
That's why we get on the bus. That's why we get on the bus.
Get on the bus to go get a win.
We're going to get a win. Yes, sir.
There we go. Go Rebels.
Go Rebels.
Yep. Head coach Sam Haynie again, the Sullivan South Rebels, the 8th-ranked team in the state. We'll put it on the road Friday night, up on the mountain, as we said. Mountain City against the Johnson County Longhorns, our next to last game of the regular season. And so, again, you can hear it on the radio Friday night on AM 870, 100.7 FM, or around the world on TopGunRadio.com. That wraps up another edition. As we wrap it up again of the In the Huddle program, head coach Sam Haynie. I'm your host, Tom Taylor. Again, as always, we wrap things up. You've been watching Sullivan South Rebel football. Remember, win or lose, be a good sport. See you next week, and go Rebels.